Does your migraine or headache get worse with menstruation or ovulation? I'm here to guide you in finding and treating active points on your own ears so that you can find relief. Okay, so we're going to look for points related to a hormonal migraine, and tenderness that we feel is actually telling us that there's an active point there. And then that's when we're going to actually massage it for about a minute. Grab yourself something like a golf tee, something that's pointy, not sharp. We don't want to break the skin. And remember, you don't have to dig in, you don't have to put a lot of pressure in order to find that point. Okay, let's get into it. The first one that we're going to look for is the estrogen point. Now, of course, on me, the estrogen point doesn't exist, and in fact, it will be instead the testosterone point. It's in the same location though. First, I want you to just take your finger and feel for where this ridge here, this ridge comes into the deeper part of your ear. This ridge comes into the deeper part of your ear, and where the ridge kind of disappears is called point 0. From here, I want you to take your finger and move up the ridge a little bit until your finger gets stopped by the ridge that crosses it, that crosses underneath. You see, right there. So it's in between point 0 and where this other ridge actually crosses it. In between those two, right on the edge of this ridge, you'll find the estrogen point. This is also the point for the ovary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my golf tee and I'm going to poke around in that area. And I'm using my finger as a backing so that I have something to press against. Now if I'm poking around and I don't find anything tender there, and I don't find anything tender in that area, then perhaps the estrogen point is not active. Or in my case, the testosterone point perhaps is not active. And if you don't find an active point, you can just move on to the next one. The next point that I'm going to show you is called the gonadotropin point. Gonadotropin is really interesting. It actually is the hormone that regulates the balance between estrogen and progesterone. If you have any issues, menstrual issues, or going through menopause, anything of that nature, the gonadotropin point is really, really good for that. And in this case, it could be a real key to unlocking your migraine or headache symptoms. We're going to look on this bump called the antitragus. We're going to find a point right about here. Once you find something, I want you just to not slide on the skin, just massage gently without putting too much pressure. And if it's an active point, you should have quite a bit of tenderness in that point without having to press hard. So just little circles without sliding on the skin. And you don't have to torture yourself, you can just take it easy. And if it feels too intense, you can back off the pressure a little bit. Okay. You want to go for at least half a minute, at least 30 seconds, sometimes up to a minute, depending. If you think you can take a little bit more, then you do a little bit more. Okay, but if it feels a little too much for you, then that might be time to stop. Okay, that's about enough for me, so I'm going to take this off, and we're going to go looking for the next point. The hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is really fascinating because it is actually the control center for all of the functions in your body that are not conscious, including all the hormonal functions. But it also is for your breathing. It's for your temperature regulation. And so if you're having hot flashes related to menopause, for example, it's very good for that. And it also regulates your appetite. So all of these things. But in this case, we're treating it so that we can help rebalance the hormonal system so that the headaches and the migraines dissipate. I want us to find again this antitragus that we were just on, but this time we're going on the inner edge, on the inner side of the antitragus. Okay, so we're going to go right down into the middle where the antitragus meets the deepest part of our ear. Okay, and then we want to go a little bit towards the outside of the ear. And just poke around that area until you find something on the inner side of that antitragus. So you kind of have to flip your ear a little bit like this. Kind of turn it inside out a little bit. And then poke around until you find something. Okay, I found something very, very strong there. Wow. Ooh, that's very tender. I don't need any pressure almost to do this one. Okay. All right. So little circles, hardly any pressure. I probably will only treat this for about 20 seconds, no more. Try to get the angle of your golf tee as perpendicular as you can to the skin. And that way you're going to get a better treatment. Little circles, massaging, not sliding on the skin. And if you come off the point a little bit, that's okay. You can just kind of poke around and find it again. And if you want to use the tip of your finger a little bit just for bracing the tip of the golf tee, that also helps keep it in place. Okay, that's good for me. Okay, so those are some points for the hormonal migraines and headaches. I hope that it gives you some relief, and join me for another ear stimulation session tomorrow as you take a moment to give back to yourself. You deserve it.